wow. What a way to end that game. What a way to end that game. Absolutely fantastic on how LSU strike there at the end as LSU beats Texas A&M. Jimbo, you absolutely suck ass. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Jimbo Fisher absolutely sucks. How he allowed this to happen to this team, I have no idea. But Jimbo, you suck. It's like the whole Kurt Angle. You suck. But nevertheless, we won't talk about Jimbo Fisher. Very happy for Coach Ed Orgeron as this is his last game as LSU's head coach. Got to give it up to him, man. Look, I've had my differences with Coach Orgeron. I've had my differences with Derek Panamsky. I've had my differences with this staff. But I am happy. Look, I will always take the Ed Orgeron regime at LSU. He did some great things. He won a national title, and I am not going to take that away from him. So from the AYS family, thank you to Coach Ed Orgeron for everything that you did. But what a great game as Max Johnson goes 22 of 38 for 306 yards, 3 touchdowns, and you do beat them. Look, I thought that this game was sloppy, indicative of having a very young team. However, when it meant the most, LSU strikes and is able to come back. Now, I will be telling you this before we pay the bills and do some sponsorships around here. We are monitoring what is going on in Oklahoma. I've just been advised because we were starting to show that Oklahoma State has scored. So we are monitoring that, and we will get into it, and we will get into all of your comments as well. So before we get started, guys, do us a favor, as always, hit that like button if you're on Facebook. Share to your Facebook pages. Share to some Facebook groups if you're a part of any. If you're on YouTube, do us a favor by hitting the like and share as well. Share to all your social media platforms. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. We'll greatly appreciate it. If you're listening on the audio podcast, don't forget to subscribe there. If you're on Twitter, don't forget to follow and retweet as well. As we hit 5,000 followers on Twitter this week, which is pretty crazy in such a short amount of time. Let's get started. Alex Ezel says, can Oklahoma State y'all pull this out? We'll see. We'll be monitoring that. Let's do this because we got a lot to get into. We got a lot to get into with Lincoln Riley, and I know that everybody wants to monitor that, and I get all of that. So we'll do that. We'll monitor that. But let's pay some bills right quick, and then we'll get into it. None better than betonline.ag. Guys, we've been telling you about BetOnline for such a long time now, and it's time to strike while the iron is hot. BetOnline is the fastest and growing mobile betting service in the state of Louisiana. Whip out your mobile devices at the end of the show. Use the 50% welcome bonus. Believe 50 AYS podcast tab. They'll give you that 50% on your first deposit if you use it. It's betonline.ag. Betonline.ag. All right, let's get rolling. As I said, we are monitoring this Oklahoma State game. Somebody shoot me the score in here. And if you want to keep us up to date, we'll put it up on the screen as well. Jeffrey says 33-31 OU, 13:52 left. Okay, there we go. Let's just talk about this. I'll talk about the game, and I'll bring up a lot of your stuff. Look, Garrett Dellinger, look, I think that this has to be known for 100% fact. Guys, when you're watching recruiting and you see the really talented freshmen come in, and when they come into the SEC, guys, it's not easy to come in the SEC and be really good. Ask Garrett Dellinger tonight. Ask Garrett Dellinger. Ask Malik Neighbors. Ask Jamar Chase his freshman year. But they overcame a lot. They did a lot of good things, and they were able to get the win. So I'm not going to take it away from them. There's a lot of young talent still on this team. A lot of young talent that is still on this team, and we're going to, whoever the next head coach is, they're going to have a lot of good talent along this team. Now, I want to mention this because this was something during the game, and I'll just bring it up. Dylan Sanders. Now, I do not know Dylan that well. I do not know, I've never seen him breaking any LSU news, but I do want to say this. Now, he tweeted something earlier during the game about Lincoln Riley committing or agreeing to a verbal contract with LSU. I want to say this. There have been rumors out there about that there was a gentleman's agreement between Lincoln Riley and LSU. But let me say this. Let me just say this. And I want to be cautious here. When you talk to people around LSU, there are some people that say yes, and there are some people that say no. Okay? There are a lot of people that say yes, and there are a lot of people that say no, that story's true. When that happens, you got to be a little bit more well-sourced in that to be able to run with something like that. Now, if he has that and he feels good about it and it comes to fruition, so be it. But right now, I cannot technically confirm that and what he has. So I just want to let it be known. I still feel a little iffy about this situation, but at the same time, I just want to let everybody know what's going on in this entire situation with Lincoln Riley. So I know a lot of people want to talk about it. I know a lot of people have seen that. I mean, it's kind of gone viral at this point, but I just want everybody to know where I stand and what I've heard on that, because I already see a lot of people talking about Lincoln Riley and the report from Dylan Sanders earlier, outside of some people that I trust saying it and other people that I trust not saying it's not true. I just want everybody to know. We got a big crowd in here tonight. 500 plus of you, all of you do us a favor by hitting like and share. We'll greatly appreciate that. Yeah, Terry Baker says 33-31 Oklahoma. Yeah, we're monitoring that. Look, I'm going to tell you, depending on how the outcome of this game goes, I think a lot of things can happen. I was told and heard somebody reported earlier today that people around LSU were saying that it wasn't true, that they never spoken to Lincoln Riley. Ladies and gentlemen, I will tell you that report of LSU never speaking to Lincoln Riley is not true. They have spoken to Lincoln Riley. That comes from people at Oklahoma. That comes from people at LSU that I've talked to. You guys know our track record. I'm going to stand by that one. Now, regardless of what's going to happen in all of this, I don't know. So, look, and they're about to get a third down stop, 3rd and 27. So, look, this game is trending in the right direction if Oklahoma State is able to pull this off. Sunday comes around, Monday comes around. I don't know how much we will know about tomorrow morning. I think you'll give Lincoln Riley a little bit of time here, but I think around lunchtime and after that, you'll start to hear more things and more things will start. And after that, there'll probably be an announcement if he is the guy on Monday and they lose this game. A lot of things are happening in your favor if Oklahoma State can pull this out. Let's get to a couple of these questions too. Tasha Thibodeau, who runs the Real LSU Nation on Facebook, she says, priceless. It is priceless. Guys, it's so amazing that you have a rivalry game and you beat Texas A&M. And quite honestly, let's call a spade a spade. Everybody that's still on this Jimbo Fisher train, if you're still on this Jimbo Fisher train or think that he's going to be the next head coach, you better hop off that son of a bitch and light that train on fire, because there's no way in blue Rudy Poo hell that Scott Woodward can run Jimbo Fisher out there after losing tonight to LSU, who is 6-6. Good thing is, it's been since 1999, LSU still does not have a losing season. Now, I will tell you this. There have been talks about a bowl game. There have been talks about what LSU would do in a bowl game. I will tell you that some people that I've talked to, there's a feeling that if they accept a bowl bid, if they were to accept a bowl bid, that Ed Orgeron would not be on staff when they go to a bowl game. So I just wanted to let that be known. Now, I don't know if they're going to accept it. Who would be the guy that would be retained on the staff to be the interim coach for one game when LSU goes to a bowl game? So for that reason, I think we'll figure all that out in the upcoming weeks. LSU is bowl eligible. They will have somebody that will invite them to a bowl game. And when that happens, we got to see if LSU accepts that. Now, if they do, I fully expect Ed Orgeron to not be on the sidelines. There was a reason why he never confirmed that he would be on the sidelines for a bowl game or coaching the bowl game. And I think Scott Woodward and the administration wants Ed Orgeron out at this point. And look, it's a good send-off for him. Everybody loves it. I get it. I understand it. But the things that I'm hearing is that Ed Orgeron would not be a part of the team if they were to do that. Blaine Smith says, thanks to all the seniors. Yeah, you got to give it. Look, Neil Farrell had a big game. Damon Clark had a big game. Glenn Logan, not on the stat sheet, but he had a big game. You got to give a lot of credit to these guys. These guys came back. None of these guys opted out and I don't want to say fake an injury or hadn't. A lot of these guys came back for their senior year. And I think it's very it's something that's foreshadowing that Damon Clark is the guy that gets the last 2 sacks to end this thing. To end this thing. You got to give him credit there. And look, he's worked his ass off. He's absolutely worked his ass off to get to where he's at. Cornelius said, what happened to Cardell Thomas? Well, he played tonight, but he got a little lazy in the third and fourth quarter. I thought he did okay, but not good. Look, Garrett, the offensive line, you got to add some pieces. You got to go in the transfer portal and get some guys. I still thought that they ran the ball effectively. I said this on Twitter Spaces, and guys, everybody that's listening, this is something that we're doing on Friday nights on Twitter. LSU still ran the ball for over 100 yards. It's still a really good track record in the SEC. And look, for all intents and purposes, A&M does have a pretty good defense. They do have a pretty good defense. Pooh Bear sends us $5 via Super Chat. Thank you, sir. He says, is Lincoln a shrimp guy or a crawfish guy? Got to get him right. Well, one thing is for sure is that he's not a brisket guy. My man don't know how to cook no brisket. We're going to have to teach his wife. We're going to have to teach him how to cook. I mean, he can't be coming down here with that brisket shit now. Don't be coming down here with that kind of brisket. Oh, dry-ass, rub-ass looking brisket. Amanda, who is does the Tiger Nation group, she says, my adrenaline is pumping so hard. Shit. It is. And look, guys, it should. And look, your adrenaline should be pumping it even in the sense of that, guys, there's a new regime. This is a happy moment and a happy time for LSU. Happy moment and happy time for LSU. Chad Selfo says, quit effing blaming Max. Look, if we want to get to a little bit of the game here, Max does have to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker, but he doesn't have a lot of help, right? Like, he doesn't have a lot of help when it comes to look, they didn't make offensive adjustments. There's a lot of things bad that they did. They did not help him on the offensive line and pass pro in the second half. And so for that reason and that reason alone, we got to sit back and say, look, what is when Jake Peets doesn't make adjustments in the second half, and the last time he makes an adjustment is when you go down and score with Jeray Jenkins. I hope you people aren't around kids, but what in the F word do you think is going to happen? Teams adjust, good teams and good coaches adjust. I can trash on Jimbo Fisher all I want to, okay, but at the end of the day, he still is a good coach. Maybe not a great coach. He's still a good coach. They made adjustments. But Max does have to get – and look, there wasn't a lot of separation. There were a lot of drops tonight. I think that there was 9 drops, and Max goes 28 of 30-something, 22 of 30-something, 22 of 33, whatever it was. And if you add those drops in there and he had 7, 8 drops, then what? I thought Trey Palmer did some good things. I thought that was a really big run he had there on the screen. And where the hell's the screen been all year? Where in the hell's the screen been all year? You scored a 61-yard touchdown, and you haven't run it all season. David says, can we keep Durante Jones as DC for new head coach? Look, guys, I'm going to let I said this last night, and I'm going to continue to say this. You got to let your next head coach make that decision, right? You can't – if he wants to keep Durante Jones, okay, he's shown when he runs his defense he can do good stuff. Problem is that if you're going to pay a guy $100 million, which it looks like you might be paying someone like Lincoln Riley, you're not going to tell him to keep Durante Jones. Now, I think you might tell him to keep some position coaches because of a money aspect and a money situation. We got a third down here. Big third down for Oklahoma State, but it looks like we got a flag. So I don't know that. I don't know that. Brinks driver on YouTube. Brinks driver, where are you? Brinks driver, answer me this. Are you heading to Norman for Lincoln Riley for LSU? Can you confirm or deny? Can you please confirm or deny if you're going? We have someone in the YouTube chat named Brinks Driver. Can you confirm if you're headed to Norman for Lincoln? Gerald says Austin Deculus. Yeah, and look, there's so many things. There's so many things that you got to get to Austin Deculus. Nobody's played in or started more games at LSU than Austin Deculus. Guys, when's the time that you've heard Austin Deculus's name for doing bad things this season? Guys, he's had a phenomenal season. Everybody do us a favor by hitting the like and share. We greatly appreciate it. If you're not doing so already, follow us on all of our social media platforms. We greatly appreciate it. Amanda says 6 sacks on Max Johnson tonight for sure, and atrocious. And look, I guess they just thought that they didn't have someone or the depth where they could kick somebody out to left tackle. But that was atrocious. Dakota says Buckus winner Damone Clark. I think he deserves it. Nookie says Jure is the man. He loved that dude. Have loved that dude all season for sure. Huge game tonight. And you know the guys that are team leaders on this team. Did you see what happened when he came off the field after that touchdown? Like, did you see what happened? Like, every player is running up to him. They loved him, and they love him. Got to give a good – and look, that kid's been through so much, like, turmoil in his life. For something good like that to happen is fantastic. We got a 3rd and 3 here, and they're not going to get it. Yep, Oklahoma State's not going to get this 3rd and 3. That's a big stop for Oklahoma. Big stop for Oklahoma. It's coming down to the wire, y'all. It's coming down to the wire. Come on, Pokes. Arlen Blackwell says running game looked 100% better compared to the beginning of the year. I agree with that. Fun what happens when scheme changes. Guys, this scheme is so bad, man. This offensive scheme is so bad. You know, everybody talks about we don't have enough good players on defense, and the scheme changes without Derek Stingley, Elias Ricks, Ali Gay, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then what? And look, something big just happened. I think Oklahoma just fumbled the football. It's going to be 1st and goal for Oklahoma State. Oh, shit. Shit's turning right for LSU, y'all. Shit's turning right. Fair catch. He muffs a punt, and Oklahoma State recovers it. Oh, shit. Man. If LSU walks off and win and Oklahoma State look, Oklahoma State owes us for the shit that they pulled in 2011. No question about that. Jonathan Crane says number 18, Damone Clark, is the number 1 linebacker in the country. He's definitely up there. You know, you got a lot of good linebackers, but he leads the SEC in tackles, close to the NCAA lead. I don't know if he has the lead today after everything that happened, but if he's not 1, he's definitely 2. And that kid has just been so good all year. So good. And it's crazy what happens when you have good coaching, right? Fantastic what happens when you have good coaching. Peter Smith, what's up, Peter? He said, honestly, proud of this team for not folding and competing to the last second. Yeah, and look, one thing that Orgeron was telling the truth about, is that this team wanted to fight. He's not lying about that. He's not lying about that. Not at all. And you saw what happened, and they have good leadership. Now, you know, some of the bad apples are going to be out of that building, and now you can move on. You're going to move on with a new staff. You're going to move on with a new compliance staff. You're going to move on, hopefully, with new things going on around LSU. Guys, it's time for a change, and I think Scott's going to do that. Now, I don't know how this Lincoln Riley stuff is going to pan out. That's a touchdown. Touchdown, Oklahoma State. Boom, shakalaka. And look, I could have run out here and easily said when Oklahoma State was down that I don't feel confident about it, but I still have confidence. It's still my opinion that he's the number one guy. I've said it for the last 6 weeks. We can pull up the audio or pull up the video if you'd like. Last 6 weeks that I haven't really ever wavered off of Lincoln Riley, and he fits all the molds that Scott Woodward looks for. And we'll see what happens. But listen, if anybody tells you why Lincoln Riley would leave Oklahoma for LSU, yeah, I'm a little behind. So everybody keeps texting me or text me saying I'm behind. Guys, you're on a delay. So when I say this, you're getting it about 10 seconds after I say it, just so everybody knows, 10 to 15 seconds after I say it. But if any of your friends, any of your colleagues, anybody ever ask you why Lincoln Riley would leave Oklahoma for LSU, I want you to stop. I hope you're not around kids, but I want you to stop them and say, $100 million, biatch. That's why. And you sit there and you stare at them. $100 million. All right, we got some breaking news coming here. I did just tell you earlier about we literally just talked about this, I think, 10 minutes ago about a bowl game. I'm getting some news right now, just getting a couple of texts that Brad Davis, the O-line coach, would be the interim head coach if LSU were to receive a bowl bid in a bowl game. So that is coming to fruition. So something that we mentioned 15 minutes beforehand, about 15 minutes ago, I'm getting the confirmation that we can run that right now. It is looking like Brad Davis, the O-line coach for LSU, will be the interim coach if they accept a bowl bid. So that could tell you some things too now. That could tell you some things too. A lot of these things can tell you a lot of this, and people that stay around could tell you a lot. So listen, a lot of this shit is starting to go into motion. This is starting to show you. Everyone needs to understand this is starting to show you the new regime of Scott Woodward. He had a plan. He didn't want Orgeron to coach the bowl game. Guys, it was about 3 weeks ago. I was told to run it after Texas A&M game. Here we are. We ran it 15 minutes ago, and now we're getting some confirmation. It's looking like Brad Davis will be the interim. Was told it could be him or Corey, but Corey might, must not want it. So it looks like it's going to be Brad Davis that takes that over. So that's pretty huge. And look, if it is, that means LSU's going to a bowl game. There was some talk. There was a lot of talk about them not accepting it, but it's looking like if they're saying that and they're letting they're saying that LSU's going to accept that. I see some people down here. Ticky Tack Taco says Coach O just announced that in the presser too. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so you guys are getting this too. All right. Well, I'm glad we talked about that 15 minutes ago. Terry Hilton says Spectrum got you on lag, bro. No, we're not on lag. That's on you guys. When you see this number get above like 650, 700, we get some lag. So sometimes it might be us. But no, I mean, on my side, we don't have lag. So you might want to check, Terry, your internet. Jacob Miley says Coach O just said he's not coaching the game, that Brad Davis will be coaching them. Okay, so we got that now. We got that. Good. Look, guys, that means we're going to that means we're going to a bowl game. That's huge. I'm glad with that. As long as Orgeron wasn't on staff and Derek Panamsky wasn't on is not on staff, please, I hope you're not around kids. I honestly don't give a fuck. Like, I honestly don't give a fuck. I'm glad we're going to a bowl game. And it could be, in all intents and purposes, that Brad Davis stays on this staff. Lincoln Riley comes over. His O-line coach is a offensive coordinator right now. Maybe he comes over with him. We'll see. Bailey Jenkins says, #AskBlood. What do you think about LSU positional needs going into next season? Bailey, can we talk about that? Well, look, I guess we can talk about that. I don't want to get in too much depth. They need O-linemen. They need linebackers. They need more receivers, quality receivers. They need more DBs. Guys, I think that you could add a lot of quality depth everywhere, like legitimately everywhere. And I don't mean that to put it into a blanket statement. But you got to go get a lot of things. You got a lot of guys leaving. Look, you got some guys on the defensive line that are leaving that you got to replace. You better hope you get guys like Quincy Wiggins. Maybe not Jamon Tapp. There's some things around Jamon, but yeah. God dog it. Text galore. Guys, there's a lot of shit flying right now that I'm not really talking about. We got people in here. Yeah, it is official, the Brad Davis thing. That's for sure. Ryan Thibodeau says Brad Davis coached with Lincoln Riley. There you go. There you go. Look, there's a lot of shit falling into place, man. It's a lot of shit falling into place. They just need to lose. Jeffrey says Independence Bowl bound. Is everybody saying that? Everybody's saying that about Independence Bowl. I see a lot of people. Are y'all just speculating? No, you have to be speculating because that invite doesn't come out right now. Man, it says Coach O announced he will not be coaching the bowl game. He's going to Destin tomorrow. Of course he is. Of course he fucking is. I'd bet $500, and I'm not going to bet any of you. I'd bet 500 smackaroos that man's going to be seen with a blonde. No question about it. No question about it. Mikey says, is Elias going to Alabama? I don't know that. I don't know that. Talking about Elias Ricks. Look, what if a coach comes in here and is able to flip him back? Guys, it doesn't right now. Elias Ricks isn't going anywhere at the current moment. Out of the current moment. Got a lot of questions firing in here. TJ Landry says, if we get invites, which bowls do you think would fit us? Independence Bowl. R&L Carriers Bowl in New Orleans, but they don't get a lot of SEC teams. It'd be funny if they got to the Barstow Bowl, whatever the hell they're calling that. That would be funny. So yeah. Well, if he's named interim, if Brad Davis is named interim, that means they know that they're going to a bowl game. And look, this is going to continue. This is going to continue to fly out more. Continue to find out more. Trying to get to a lot of these comments. Mark says 6:44 left. Oklahoma State has the ball. Yep. I thought they had the rough in the pass or rough in the punter there. Did they not throw a flag? Doesn't look like it. Doesn't look like it. Barrett Granger, Coach Granger says says go Tigers for the last time. No, it ain't for the last time. It ain't for the last time. We're going to continue to say go Tigers. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. That doesn't matter. That part doesn't matter. Darren says any Lincoln Riley Will Muschamp has connections, not to my current knowledge. But look, even with all, let me say this about Will Muschamp and probably what should have happened with Bo Pelini in a sense, but just too much bad shit was happening around that. I think Will Muschamp is a good defensive-minded guy. I think he's a good defensive guy. I don't know how well he relates today to some people or some players or some parents or whatever, but he's still a good defensive coach. And look what a guy like Derek Mason did for Auburn today. Former Vanderbilt head coach, a defensive guy. Look, they gave Alabama all they wanted. I get it's a rivalry game, but they've done that before. Richard says she was at the press conference. Of course she was. Next time, don't bring him to practice. You'll be all right. Marcus Walker says SEC doesn't play in the Independence Bowl anymore. There you go. There you go. I don't know where they go. And Mark Allen says the same. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where they go. It's going to be extremely interesting, though, and I'm glad that they are. Chris Connor says Price hit 1,000 yards rushing. How crazy is it that Ty Davis Price hit 1,000 yards rushing after everything that this team, number one, has been through, and number two, how bad they guys. We had 33 yards rushing, 33 yards rushing against fucking Auburn, and that kid hit 1,000 yards after they made offensive adjustments. That kid's gonna get drafted. That kid's gonna play in the league. Somebody asked earlier, I forget who asked about positions of need. Look, you might even need some running backs. I don't know what's going on with Amari Goodwin. He seems very disinterested. Even when he's on the field, he seems disinterested. You know, a couple of weeks ago, he's running a wheel route up the sidelines, and he didn't think the ball was coming to him, so he stopped. So maybe that's another position. Dominic Vaughn says, just avoided a losing season for the first time since 1999. Take that as a blessing. For sure. For sure. Paul Brown says, hey, Jimbo, you suck. We never wanted you here. $75 million for mediocre. It's true. It's very true. Pooh Bear says, I hope they go to the Birmingham Bowl. I'd love to go. Yes, indeed. I might go. How crazy is that I go more to the bowl games and shit like that versus going to like the actual home games. Dylan Holly says, think it's kind of funny Jimbo rejects us, then we beat him. Of course. And you still got people out there running, that's in the media running, saying that Jimbo Fisher's the number one target. Guys, there's no effing way. There's no effing way that they can run Jimbo Fisher out there. Zero. And here's, and for anybody that hasn't heard one of our shows before and things that we've said I've said in the past, it's my opinion, no matter what happens with Lincoln Riley, that he's your number one target. It doesn't matter what happens. He was still your number one guy. Anybody else that they run out there is not your number one guy. Jimbo might have been asked, and I'm sure that they talked to one another. And look, Jimbo's got a good situation over there. Look, he could be fired, and it wouldn't matter to him at this point. Guys, he's $95 million richer right now. It doesn't matter to him. I'm not saying he doesn't want to win. I'm not saying all of that, but come on. Holden Lee says, I'm drunk. A&M, let's go. Travis LeBlanc says, Okie State needs to drive for a TD. Salt this thing away. I know. Be huge if they could. Be humongous if they could. I tell you what, it makes me stressed. Chad says, I still think Lincoln Riley's a smokescreen. Guys, it's not a smokescreen. It's not a smokescreen. I don't care what anybody is reporting. And I'm not saying he's coming. What I am saying is, guys, he's not a smokescreen. I don't give two flying Rudy Poos what people from Oklahoma say. They're so oblivious. And if you don't want to believe me, and I know a lot of people believe Ross Dellinger. We said this 2 weeks ago. We've talked about this. Okay. If you don't want to believe me, that's fine. But what you do need to believe is me and Ross share the same opinion when it comes to, I think that people at Oklahoma are oblivious to what's going on here. They think they're so fucking cocky about what they're doing and what they believe. Hey, do you believe he's coming? No. Have you talked to anyone? Well, no. You mean you're not even going to check it out? It's not a smokescreen, because Scott Woodward at this point, at this exact moment, Scott Woodward would not have let it go on to this point, because he wouldn't want it to the public perception to be that he missed. He wouldn't want that to be the public perception that he missed. He would have put an end to it. He would have leaked it to somebody. One thing we're not talking about, and Carlton Cisco brings it into the chat, LSU basketball 7-0 for the first time since like ever. Yeah. It's true. Breaking news, Efton Reed is a beast. Perry Delahousse says Liberty Bowl was mentioned. Okay. I'm excited that this isn't our last game. Right? Like I'm excited that this is not our last game. I want to go to a bowl game. Reagan Phelps says they need to go to the AYS Rudy Poo Bowl. I like it. We don't have the money to support that. If y'all wanted to do a GoFundMe, we'll do it. Jeremy Marshall says, hashtag Ask Blake, getting tired of fake social media posts, etc. Ready to get this behind us. And let's get back to LSU football. I feel like we stick our foot in our mouths every time we hire a football coach, kind of like a dad scaring a boyfriend away. Yeah, look, people are going to continue to report it, but look, until I get something solid, I'm not going to run anything until it's solid. I'm going to give you my opinion, and an opinion's opinion. Look, guys, my opinion could be dog water. It could be shit. I could be wrong, but I do want to take a calculated guess on an opinion, a very good one. And then you take some sourcing and then you bring it into there. You ask people around LSU, you take what you get, and you come here and you make a hypothesis, or just make a hypothesis. When everybody started going down getting extensions, and the only man that's staying up held Football Scoop and Ross Dellinger and Pat Forty, and everybody's running that Billy Napier's accepting the job at Florida. Guys, there's nobody left. The only coach, unless Scott pulls somebody out his ass, the only guy that's left that's ever been mentioned is Lincoln Riley. The only one. This game's getting interesting, boys and girls. That's incomplete. Jacob Cole says LSU remains the only SEC team to not have a losing season in the last 20 years. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Chad says Jimbo Fisher's ass. Carl Dunn says Jimbo implodes again. Not my coach. Not my coach either. Man's a Rudy Poo. Pooh Bear sends us $2 via Super Chat, and he says, Blake, have you ever cited yourself as a source? I have never done that. And I know you're talking about Lon Phillips. No, I've never cited myself as my own source. That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. Brandon Reese says the 21st 1,000-yard rushing season in LSU history belongs to Baton Rouge at Ty Davis Price. Crazy, man. I would really like to know how many yards rushing that kid had before Auburn, or even after Auburn. I'd love to know how many rushing yards that kid had after the Auburn game. Because if he had 800, 750, 800 games and 6 or 7 games, would it be 7 games at that point? 6 or 7 games? That's unreal. Charlie Viator says Riley's buyout is $4 million if he leaves voluntarily. Shit. Come on, man. $4 million. All right, getting some news. Hold on. I'm going to keep that one close to the vet. Guys, I'm not going to report anything right now because I need to get something like that verified. I think that you're going to have a coaching, some shakeup. If LSU does go to a bowl game, I think you're going to have some shakeup with inside the staff already, even though Brad Davis is taking over. So I need to figure that part out before I go out here and start running it. 3rd and 5, 139 left. I must be behind all you guys. I must be behind everybody. Uh-oh. Caleb Williams got sacked on 4th down. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Man. Shit's about to get very interesting, y'all. Shit's about to get very, very, very interesting around Baton Rouge. I'm like a kid at Christmas right now. I'm like a kid at Christmas. Ball game. Oh, shit. Hey, this too. Joe Oliva can suck it, man. Brinks driver comes back and says, told you guys I'm in place. Oh, my God. Wow. Guys, it's going to be a very interesting 24 hours. And listen, we're going to go live. We're going to go live as soon as we know anything tomorrow. Be on the lookout for notifications. Hit the notifications and subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, all of it. As soon as we know something tomorrow, Monday, we're going live. We're going live. I promise you that. Chris Barnhill says it's about to get real. Guys, it's about to get very real. Eric, I'm not going to comment on that yet. Eric asked for people on the podcast, is Jones or Pete's heading out tomorrow? Let me run that. Let me run that down first. I don't think it's Durante Jones. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Todd says, it will be interesting to see how Riley answers when the question gets asked during the postgame. You best believe I'm going to be watching that son of a bitch. And look, it's going to be coming up soon. But look, Oklahoma's still got them timeouts now. Andrew Brister says, LSU going to look great in a new Lincoln. Jacob Marceau says, well, if it's Riley, we about to find out. That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. And look, that post-game press conference is going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Mark Cumby sends us this. SEC Bowl tie-ins, Liberty Bowl, the Duke's Mayo Bowl, Texas Bowl, Outback Bowl. We were not going to the Outback Bowl. So maybe Liberty Bowl, Mayo Bowl, Texas Bowl, or maybe Citrus Bowl. I don't know. No, Las Vegas Bowl maybe. There's a lot of bowls you could go to. A lot of bowls you can go to. I'm glad we're playing in a bowl game. I did not want that to be the last game of the season. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie at all. Like, I did not want to end the regular season at the end of the regular season. I want to end this bitch in January, into December, and then let's go. I'm not trying to hold back. I see a lot of people saying I'm holding back. Guys, I want to get this. I want to get it confirmed before I say something. Just want to get something confirmed. That's all. That's all. I'm not trying to hold back. Not trying to hold back. Tiki Tac Taco says 3rd and 7. Absolutely need a first down. Yep. For sure. Oh, man. Richard says, OU's, yeah, y'all are ahead of me. Y'all are way ahead of me then. Because all I'm seeing right now is I'm seeing 3rd and 7, and it's a run. Oh, man. Ryan Thibodeau says, hashtag Ask Blake, let me know in DM so I control up the big body. I don't know what you mean, man. I don't know what you mean. Danny Thompson said Harold Perkins seems to be waiting on LSU, the big recruit out of Texas, the big linebacker. That's true. That's true. And look, he was there tonight. How does a guy like Harold Perkins, with all of this shit that went down, Louisiana native, I know he's in Texas, but how does he pick Texas A&M over LSU after this? That I'll never know. That I will never know. All right. We're going to stay here for the last game. So fire in your questions, hashtag Ask Blake. We'll talk about them. We'll mention them. They need a turnover here, man. They need a turnover here big time. If they can get a turnover here, it'd be huge. Alex Ezel said, can't tell if that Caleb look should be scary or he's nervous. Look, man, I don't know. And a lot of people have talked about Caleb Williams. I mean, look, he's 20 of 35 tonight, 252, 3 touchdowns. He's been pretty good. Oklahoma's run the ball very effectively. They have 141 yards on the ground. he's still a freshman. He's done some good things, but I don't know if you bring him in and tell Walker Howard, oh, look at that, and you tell him to go away. Like I don't know that. Oh, that's a missed INT. That's a missed interception. God damn it. You got to catch that, man. Lou says, do you think we can retain Eli Ricks, or is he good as gone? Man, I think he's good as gone personally, man. I think he's good as gone. I think that him and Orgeron had a connection. He was going to stay here as long as Orgeron was, and he was going to leave after he was done or after his junior year. I don't see Eli Ricks coming back. And Lee says, where's Eli supposedly heading, Blake? I don't know that. I mean, he flirted with Ohio. Oh, that's a fumble or muff snap. He's going to get sacked. No shit. Oh my God. How do you let him run? How do you let him run for 50 yards? I know you're playing deep coverage, but my God. Everybody in the chat, oh my God. OMG. Oh shit. I don't know how you let him get all that. Oh no. Yep, we got a big third down coming up here. But look, they're going to go for it on fourth, so you still got two. Look, you still got 2 downs here. You still have 2 downs. That's a good pass breakup too. It's very close. I'm fired in all y'all's questions. Everybody says 4th and 10. Man, I'm still at 2nd and 10. I'm just going to rely on y'all. So my reaction is going to be y'all send in the chat. Oh, that was close. Surprised he didn't throw a flag there. Oh my God. How nuts is it that we're sitting here worried about this Oklahoma game? Like how nuts is that? Thomas said sacked. Oh, if he's sacked, then that's the ball game. Is it over? Oh shit. Christopher Westbrook, Okie State wins. Well, there you go. There you go. So it makes it very easy for Lincoln Riley to make him a trip down to Baton Rouge now. Makes it very, very, very easy and very simple and not complicated. Look, guys, we could have an announcement as soon. We could have an announcement as soon as tomorrow. Definitely can have an announcement as soon as tomorrow. Pew, pew. Man, it's going to be a long ass night. It's going to be a long ass night. Barrett Granger since $4.99 on the Super Chat. He says TDP had 140 yards after the Auburn game and then went crazy. How fucking crazy is that? How fucking crazy is it that Ty Davis Price, through 5 games, only had 140 yards rushing and then would go on to have 1,000 yards rushing towards the end of the season? That's insane. Dylan says, are you staying live to the presser? There's not going to be oh, you're talking about Lincoln Riley's presser tonight? No, there's a lot of shit I got to do tonight. There's a lot of phone calls. I'm going to be tweeting. If you don't have Twitter, you better get one. If you don't have Twitter, you better get one. Because I'm going to be tweeting my ass off tonight. There's going to be a lot of shit going on. A lot of shit going on. A lot of shit flying around. Nookie says, calling Baton Rouge. I love it, man. I love it. Ryan says, "Old Blake like the old Nintendo Duck game." Ball game. Look, they just gave Gundy the hat. Let's look at Lincoln. Let's watch Lincoln's reaction. Oh, shit. He just gave him a fist pump. Don't worry, Caleb. You played a good game, guy. You played a good game, big guy. Des says, bring in the Brinks truck, baby. We're getting all of them tonight. Let's hope so. Cedric says, hashtag ask Blake, if Lincoln Riley comes to LSU, does the quarterback – look, I've answered that question a lot. I don't know that. I think we're putting the cart before the horse there, so to speak, right? Like I don't know. We don't even have the head coach yet. You know, like we don't even have him. So I don't know that. I don't know that at all. Carlton says, come after me. I'm a man. I'm for you. Thank you, Oklahoma State. Well, Oklahoma State owed us one from 2011. They owed us one, and they paid us back. They owed us a massive one, and they paid it back. Brandon Reese says, Lincoln Riley knows that he can win a title at LSU. Hell yeah, he does. He can't win a title. Look, I don't give a shit what Oklahoma people say. They don't fucking know what it's like down here in Louisiana. They don't know what it's like at LSU. They haven't won 3 national titles and got to a 4th in 20 years. They don't have a damn clue. They're a Rudy Poo team sometimes. They don't ever – there's a reason people call them Choklahoma. Don't come down here talking that shit about LSU when you've never played in the SEC. But I will say this, it was an amazing day for college football. Michigan beating Ohio State. They're probably going to beat Iowa, and then they're going to go to the playoffs. God forbid Iowa beats Michigan in the Big Ten championship game. Looks like Cincinnati's in. Alabama struggled today. They're not going to beat Georgia. Who's going to be that 4th team in? Is it going to be Notre Dame? You know, a lot of people make fun of Lee Corso, but shit. He said Notre Dame was going to be that 4th team, and we hate it. But shit, you're going to put in a 2-loss team over Notre Dame? They're not going to do that. I don't see him doing that. Pooh Bear says, hashtag ask Blake, does Lincoln Riley tell the OU players he's going out for milk? I don't know. You know, I'm sure he'll talk to him, but no. Brian Williams says the top 4 is going to be Georgia, Michigan, Cincinnati, Okie State. I think that they're still going to keep Alabama in there. Look, they're going to still keep Alabama in there for this week for the SEC championship game, and then they'll bring them back. I don't see how they're not going to slip from 3 all the way down to out of 4. I just don't see it. Not after winning. Dandy Thompson says Twitter has Riley already at LSU. Yeah, and look, you got to be careful with those. And look, I referenced the Dylan Sanders tweet. I don't have it locked down right now. I'm not going to confirm his story. I'm going to tell you there's a lot of people that have talked about it, and there's a lot of people that said it's not true. Just telling you people, 2 sides of things of people that I trust very dearly, right? So I'm going to leave it there. Going to leave it there. All right, we'll get a couple more before we get out of here. Kate says, Blake, if Riley comes to LSU, would you rather Williams or Howard? I'm gonna say Walker Howard. I think that you can develop a guy. I'm just gonna say Walker Howard. I have nothing against Caleb Williams. I think he's a good kid. I think he's a good ball player. I just don't want to turn away a kid that's that highly recruited in the state. Like, can Lincoln Riley's first thing be bring Caleb Williams and then Walker Howard not commit to LSU or come here and transfer or something? You can't do that shit, man. You just can't. You can't do that. You just can't. And look, he's got another kid that's committed for 2023. Does he decommit and now commit to LSU? There's a lot of moving parts there, man. A lot of moving parts. That was a good drink right there, boy. It was a great drink right there. Bo says, does Riley bring his staff? Hopefully not the DC. I don't think he brings Alex Grinch. I think he brings his O-line coach, the co-offensive coordinator, and I think that that's it for right now. I don't know. Bo says, does Riley bring his staff? Same questions, a lot of the same questions firing in. Brand says, I'm so excited, Blake. Hashtag Riley to LSU. Guys, I'm excited too. It's an exciting time. It's an exciting time for LSU. Look, this season, last 2 seasons have sucked ass. Doesn't mean that you can't have success or be excited about. Look, we got a lot going on. MTM says y'all need to calm down. Yeah, man, we're not going to calm down, bud. Calm down for what? Jacob Fitzgerald says need some AYS gear for father-in-law. He's a huge OU fan. Go Tigers. Floyd Davis says, Blake, that you're Rudy Poot. Okay. Who told you to say that? Matt Moscona? He kind of called me out today. I've been drinking a little bit. So funny how he does the shit that he does. Bald head scallywag. Bebop says, can LSU win big games with Lincoln Riley? Hell yeah, they can. Guys, if they can win it with Ed Orgeron, they're fucking right that they can win it with Lincoln Riley. I guess this MTN guy is an Oklahoma fan or somebody else. Who knows? All right, let's do this. I'm about to go listen to this press conference. We'll have a show tomorrow. I'm going to have to bog down and do a show tomorrow where we'll keep going on. If you're not on Twitter, I would suggest that you follow us on Twitter. If you're not doing so already, we're going to be putting a lot of things out tonight, I'm assuming, especially stuff around the Lincoln Riley press conference. Until then, guys, we'll see y'all soon. I hope that we go to a bowl game. It's going to be very interesting. Going to be a long night. We'll see y'all soon. Later, guys.